Unfortunately for us as West Ham fans, myself and Luke right beside me predicted the scoreline today, and unfortunately it came true. What a shit result for a West Ham fan today. West Ham have just been beaten by Arsenal 4-1 at the Emirates. Although we held Arsenal up until about the 80th minute, but what an almighty collapse by West Ham in the last 10 minutes. Welcome back to Iron United's YouTube channel. Straight over to Richard. Richard, opinion on the game?
Gutted really, because I thought we'd done enough to get a point. I didn't feel as though Arsenal really threatened us that much, and I thought we had the brighter of the starts between the two sides. And obviously, I'm just gutted because for us to be 1-1 after 80 and lose 4-1, it worries me really the nature of our collapse, especially at this point in the season where we've got to knuckle down and grind out results. For us to collapse like that is worrying. So at the end of the day, I'm just hoping that the teams below us are just more shit than we are, really. So just disappointed because I thought we were in the game for large spells.
Yeah, what about yourself, Luke? Just a kind of brief overview.
Yeah, it was me brief. It was. I was disappointed. I was actually quite shocked, but happily shocked when we were performing quite well in the first half. Looked to be going all right. I'd have taken a draw anyway before the game started, so 0-0 was fine with me. Good finish by Natovic, but typical West Ham, we capitulate after it was a mistake, fair enough, but you don't capitulate like that. That's totally unprofessional. So yeah, not happy in a minute. With
10 minutes to go, we were holding Arsenal 1 each. I mean, listen, all West Ham fans would have taken that at the end of the day, a point away to Arsenal at the Emirates. Let's rewind back to before the game and the starting lineup. A little bit of controversy, I suppose, around it because we probably didn't expect some of the names to be on that team sheet. And to be honest, our bench looked quite strong, if not stronger than our current first team midfield anyway. But Richard, what was your thoughts on the starting lineup?
Initially, I was pretty pissed off because you look at the quality we have on our bench: Lanzini, Chicharito, Carroll. Surely one of them's got to be starting, but that's not my worry for me because I thought that the team on paper that played today and the team that played 80 minutes did enough, and they actually were decent. So credit to them. Obviously, there is something wrong with Lanzini. Obviously, he's not 100% fit. That's why he hasn't started. We know Moyes doesn't like Chicharito. That's why he hasn't played. And then Carroll, obviously, is just coming back to fitness. So it actually would have been strange for him to have started. But I'm just disappointed at the capitulation because the players actually held their own, did really well. And it's just unfortunate for young Declan Rice, 18-year-old. Not sure why he's ducked because looking at the replay, Hart says to him away. And obviously he's misheard that as leave it or something. So selection-wise, we kind of expected it. I'm not sure how Hart started again because he made some decent saves today, to be fair, but he was at fault, in my opinion, for the third goal. That's my thoughts on the team selection.
And look, one of the players we were talking about in particular was the Fernandes still being in the side. I think we could have predicted that Chicharito wasn't going to start. But with Lanzini sitting on the bench, putting the pressure on to get back into the team, the rumour is he's been fit for a couple of weeks. Why is he not playing in these sort of games? I mean, we've seen the quality that he can bring when he did set up Arnautovic for his goal. What's your thinking behind that?
Well, I think a lot of it's down to the fact we've got Mario on loan and we're trying to get as much out of him as we can. That's the only thing I can think of. And perhaps Lanzini isn't totally match fit. He could be fit, but there's a difference between being fit in training and being fit in a match. You can be fit as you like, but there's also something called match sharpness as well. Moyes is running that team, and I don't agree with half the things that Moyes puts out team-wise, selection-wise, tactics-wise. So who knows? It's probably just down to Moyes going, don't want to rush this player back, don't want to do this, don't want to do that. But you can see as soon as they come on, there's a different impetus. There was more attacking impetus, finally. Great goal from Arnautovic. But then the same with West Ham. What he'd done is we went 1-0 up, got the goal back for 1-0. And then Moyes has clearly gone, right, let's just park the bus, take a point. Maybe if it's still 1-0 at 80 minutes, Carroll can come on and we can start lumping balls up to him and change it that way. But generally, okay, Rice has made a mistake, but I'm not sure West Ham would have held out till 90 minutes with 1-0. We were so defensive.
Yeah, well, let's even rewind further back to when Arsenal scored their first goal. Monreal, the corner comes in, and my biggest concern more than anything is the fact that the ball didn't really go in at great pace, at great power, but Masuaku stepped away from his post, and Hart tried to go for an attempt, and it's a little bit in reverse circumstances, a bit like the Rice in the Hart situation. You're the defender, you're in front of the goalkeeper, you commit to it. What are you doing stepping away, Richard? What are your thoughts on that? Because to be honest, Masuaku was non-existent today.
Again, I can't really explain why Masuaku's left it. Obviously, he in that split second of judgment feels as though Hart's going to get there, and he thinks I'm going to leave this. But honestly, what's the point of having someone on the post if he's not going to do his job? That's what mind boggles me. And that's as soon as the goal went in, myself, my brother, my dad were just like, Masuaku, what are you doing? You're on the post. That's your job, to clean up situations like that. So I don't even think Masuaku knows why he's left that ball. It's just one of those, he literally just had a brain fart.
Yeah. And
he didn't know what he was doing. Yeah.
And it's really disappointing because in the first half in particular, I thought West Ham gave as good as they got. We had a couple of attempts. We did take the game a little bit to Arsenal. Balls were getting crossed in, finding our players. We had a couple of chances. Arnautovic had a couple of chances. Some decent saves from the Arsenal goalkeeper. And then I just found
even hit the bar.
Yeah, exactly, with Kouate's attempt. But we just left ourselves open, and we always kind of came out as if we came out into the second half with thinking, we've got this game, and we just put our heads down, and bang, Monreal found that opportunity. But look, discuss maybe the West Ham goal, we made some substitutions. What was your thoughts on
it? Was just the more attacking emphasis. You could see as soon as you can see fucking hell.
We've lost Luke.
My chair broke.
That's one of those moments. Don't worry, we'll get it on the reels at the end. It's live TV.
I was to hold myself.
Oh my days, that is golden.
It's really fucking hell. It was more attacking. I can't talk right now. It was more attacking influence. It was a lot more attacking, and not a surprise really. But it was a scrappy goal, with a neat finish. That's about all I can say on that one, really.
But then you think about, we took the two players off that we were probably talking about the most in our little group, and that was the fact that we were desperate for Mario, desperate for Fernandes to come off. I'll throw this one over to you, Richard. Thoughts on Mario's performance today, and then I want you to give me a quick judgment on Mario moving forward.
Interesting question. Mario, first 25, 30 minutes, I thought he was good. He looked up for it. He made some decent passes. He made a few decent flicks. His ball through to Fernandes in the first half, like right in the beginning of the game, Fernandes almost got on the end of that, and that could have been 1-0. But after that, he was non-existent. He was lethargic. He pulled out of 50-50s. His set pieces were poor. Their first goal, as Luke mentioned before we came on air, was from a poor corner kick. We didn't get it past the first man. They've punished us. As far as moving forward with him, I think we should let him go. There's no way we should try and sign him because he's overpriced, and he hasn't done enough for me. I don't think he really wants to be here, to be honest. He's kind of just playing out the end of the season in the hope that he gets a move either back to Inter or he gets a move elsewhere. So I wouldn't even think about keeping him on board, definitely.
Yeah, and then let's just quickly fast forward, I suppose, to the goal that really probably caused 1-1, 10 minutes to go. West Ham at that point probably would have taken the draw, with the potential to potentially bring Andy Carroll on to cause up, start some problems. Aaron Ramsey collects the ball wide on the box, fires a cross in to just put a little bit of pressure on defence, and unfortunately for us, Declan Rice, who has been fantastic all season, dips his head, drops it down, and the ball just trickles in past Joe Hart. Look, who do you blame for that?
Right, okay, this is going to be an unpopular opinion. You are right, and what you said, I think, before we come online, that as a defender, rule number one, when the ball's coming to you, and when you know you've got a defender on your arse, that ball gets cleared in the day. No, there's no question about it. There is a possibility that obviously Hart has called out something last minute, so Rice has thought, okay, I'll leave it to you, but you don't really do that at the end of the day. You sort of just carry on. But at the same time, I think as any footballer, you should predict that something will happen, i.e. the defender will miss it or the forward will miss it. So you expect the ball coming in your head, you go, if the defender doesn't get this, if the forward doesn't get this, I'm catching this ball. So it looks to me, all he's done is he's thought, oh, Rice is getting this. Rice has ducked out and missed the header. And Hart's like, oh, shit, there's, okay, goal. Like, what's all that about? It's like, to me, personally, any footballer should predict the worst happening before it happens. Yeah. So the ball coming through, Rice has missed it, fair enough, but Hart is there. And if he was waiting for it, he'd probably be able to get rid of that. But I'm not going to harp on about it. It is what it is. Rice has made, fundamentally, it's Rice's mistake. But I just think the Hart maybe should have prepared himself a bit better. But there you go. I'm an anti-Hart fan, so I'm going to say something like that.
I'll put my kind of tuppence worth in, but I said it before we came on. For me personally, yeah, it's Declan Rice's fault, but I ain't going to hold this whole match on his head. He's been fantastic when he's came in. He's played really well. He's bided his time. He's gave us performances earlier in the season, and he's not had consistently been in the side where I think he should have been consistently in the side from the start of the season. But when it comes to that decision, when you're in a 6-yard box and you're a centre-half and you're in front of your goalkeeper and you've got an Arsenal player on you, an opposition player, you clear your lines. And at that point, it doesn't matter if the keeper is screaming or shouting coming towards you, you still clear your lines. So it's really unfortunate because it was the starting point for our West Ham's collapse in the last 10 minutes. I'm not even going to say the second half because it was really 10 minutes of disasters after disasters. Richard described that 10 minutes as West Ham fans, especially at the same time knowing that Stoke were leading up until that point. The points is starting to drop, but then obviously, lucky for us, Burnley equalised.
I don't understand how you can capitulate so badly in the space of 10 minutes. With people like Noble, Ogbonna, leaders on the pitch, Kouyaté, how can you possibly allow yourselves to collapse like that? I mean, that's something that West Brom would do, and they're already down. You know, that's a worry. A team who's fighting to stay up simply cannot collapse like that. So yeah, for West Ham fans, after the third goal went in, I lost it, and then when the fourth goal went in, I don't even think I was watching. I think I'd gone outside to shout at the air or something. Yeah, so it was just one of those crazy few minutes, and I think what set us up for that was the way we started the second half. First 10, 15 minutes of the second half, we just weren't at it at all. Yeah. As you say, we kind of thought, yeah, we've done a right first half, so we'll just chill for 15 minutes the second half and hope they don't do anything. So that just set us up. We started second half poorly, and then the 10 minutes, I can't really explain that. It was just calamity, really.
Listen, as West Ham fans, we probably don't want to sit here and even tell people and describe all the goals. But to cut a long story short, Lacazette scored 2 goals, and Ramsey, and it's just a really frustrating time. But let's just move forward with West Ham in general, and we'll probably do another show regarding West Ham and what's going to happen moving forward. We've been beaten 4-1. It's really crap. We've got some difficult last 4 games coming up, are really difficult games. The gap's closed to, am I correct in saying 5 points? To Stoke?
Yeah, Stoke, yeah.
Yeah, and
are Stoke on the same amount of points as Southampton?
I'll have a look.
Sure.
Stoke 31, West Ham, let's have a look and see if this is updated. 35.
Stoke 29, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Stoke at 29. Southampton 29, West Ham on 35.
So 6 points for difference, 4 games to go. I mean, I'm not going to get carried away and say we're safe. I genuinely am worried. But my biggest concern here, just a brief discussion, quick 5-minute discussion, is David Moyes. His no interest in Chicharito. I'll throw this one over to you, Richard. What's going on? Is he right to leave Chicharito on the bench? What's his mindset going into these games?
I can kind of understand why a game like this wasn't really fit for Chicharito, because we needed a big, robust forward that was going to run in behind, give them problems, and that's what Arnautovic did. First half, we kind of played a few long balls, and he made something of it because he's so physical. Whereas Hernandez would have struggled. I honestly couldn't see him doing that job. I think he would have been isolated. He would have got frustrated. in terms of his relationship with Moyes, there's clearly something not right there. Moyes doesn't like him. That I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened at Man United, but Moyes does not fancy him, which pisses me off because I really like Hernandez. And for a manager to come in and literally destroy his career at West Ham, because I don't see how Hernandez will stay on any later if Moyes is our manager. So he's literally single-handedly destroyed his career at West Ham, which pisses me off. Yeah, and that's my thoughts on the whole Moyes Hernandez situation. If I could, I'd tell Moyes to do one, and I'd keep Hernandez if I had the choice.
What about yourself, Luke? Would you choose the player over the manager?
If I go, lads, because this chair's really fucking this shit in a minute. I haven't been holding myself up. So, was that about Chicharito, yeah?
Yeah. Would you choose Chicharito over Moyes?
Yeah, I would. And after this, the fact that the whole season, you know, we've had potentially, well, not even potentially, he's a world class striker. Don't care what anyone says. And we haven't had a noose to use him. We haven't any idea how to use him. We've tried to use him as a target man for a geezer who's about the same size as Lanzini. And it's just West Ham had an opportunity to build a team around a player of his ability, and the owners didn't put enough money into buy players who would be able to give him service and whatever. We're not a team, clearly not a team built for just a finisher. So players like Arnautovic and Carroll are our bread and butter, which is a shame because we shouldn't be looking to just get them players in. I think Hernandez will be off in the summer, and I don't blame one little bit. It's a massive shame for the club because we've been pathetic about the whole situation. Moyes is just defensive. He likes the old Fellaini, doesn't he? He's just to pump it upfield, get counter attacks going. Unfortunately, we're going to probably lose one of the best strikers we've never had. So I'll say it in that way because we haven't been anywhere near the potential that he could have had with us. It's our own fault. No one else to blame but ourselves. The managers, the management system. He's been let down by West Ham. That is basically the fundamental line of this. He's been let down by the club.
Listen,
it's just a shame.
When you think about it, Moyes was brought in to do a job, and that job was to keep us safe. To be controversial, to be a devil's advocate, can we really blame David Moyes, especially if we do stay up, Richard?
Well, if he keeps us up, well, he will keep us up because I'm positive he will keep us up. He's missed out. He's been too soft and he hasn't gone out of his shell to. I mean, today, for example, in the Arsenal game, the game was there for the taking. If we lose, cool. We didn't expect to get much from the game. At least have a go. I mean, they've just been battered against Newcastle. Fair play to Rafa Benitez for what he's done there, but they've just been battered against Newcastle. Let's have a go at them. They're low on confidence. So often when there's a chance for us to capitalize on teams' weaknesses, Moyes just goes with the tried and trusted and he just puts out the same side and just hopes something will happen. Capitalize on that, and that's what pisses me off about him. We could have, if we stay up, fair play, but it could be better. It really could be better, especially with the players he has at his disposal. He's actually blessed. He's blessed to have Lanzini, Hernandez, Carroll. He's blessed to have those options. Why not use them? Why not use them properly? That's what annoys me the most.
What about yourself, Luke?
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that he's turned Arnautovic into the striker that we always should have had from the start of the season in the form he's in. The fact that he changed Masuaku into a left back, which is his actual position, because he's no good as a defender. There's certain things that I do appreciate his work, and he has improved certain elements of our team, stabilised the training stuff, all that sort of stuff. Brilliant, but I think like Richard's saying, he lacks a bit of bollocks, to excuse my French. And when push comes to shove, he sort of just there's nothing there. I think what he does is he's just trying to do enough. He doesn't want to do too much. He doesn't want to maybe get as high. He's literally going, as long as we are above relegation zone, that's all we need. We don't want to go any higher. The players don't want to push it because of injuries, whatever you want to call it. But generally, he's doing the least that he can do to get us out of the rut. And unfortunately, the problem with that is you aren't risking anything. But the other problem is that it comes back to bite you, which with West Ham can happen. It's been a known mantra for us for years. We shoot ourselves in the foot. We grab defeat from the jaws of victory, that kind of thing. And I think he's just on that line of, if he fucks it up, if we go down, it will be his fault because he had the opportunity to get us a lot higher. And I don't know if people realise this, but a little while back we were actually potentially looking at a mid-table finish because we were doing so well results-wise. And now it's gone straight back down, and now again we're fearing relegation. So to answer your question, and after that long-winded rant, yes, it will be his fault because he's a manager at the end of the day. He's on the hot seat. He's there in a minute.
A big concern is while you were just having that big rant, I was doing a little bit of adding up.
Love it.
A bit of adding up, and in 21 games that David Moyes has been in charge in the Premier League, we've conceded 36 goals. So it's just it's just consistently inconsistent. A consistent West Ham season after season that's conceding lots and too many goals, and obviously there's just something not right at our club. And to be honest, I don't want to make this a board smashing review, but I am going to bring them into this because at the end of the day, when they are looking at our side and we're facing relegation like we are potentially, with 6 points safety, with 4 games to go, with all these teams to play, it's just not good enough from our board. And the fact that they would even consider giving Moyes, who is a defensively minded, negative thinker of a coach, if he saves us, it's only going to be because potentially that there are 2 other teams or 3 other teams in that league that are shit compared to West Ham right now, and we are probably potentially going to stay up on the lowest points and probably break the record. I don't know what the record is, but there's a possibility. And Richard, I don't know if you said that to us beforehand. How many points do you think we need? We could seriously survive on the points we have. And do you know what? We survive on 35 or 36 points. That's a disaster of a season. Yeah. A disaster of a season. That's not great West Ham.
All I'll say is this comes back to what you again. World-class team in a world-class stadium.
Yeah. And and again, I know we're gonna do loads of videos on the progression of West Ham, the regression of West Ham, whatever. I'm done with the stadium chat just now. I'm not happy with it, but I want things to change. But at the end of the day, it's not my biggest complaint. You've got to put 11 players on that field, and I think there are some players there. We've got a core somewhere. We've got players we can build on, which is Declan Rice. We've got players like Chicharito. We need to move forward, bring these signatures in. But it's going to be another typical West Ham thing. Bring in a top quality player, let him go. We're going to lose. We're fickle fans. I see on social media that fans are turning around saying they'll accept money for Manuel Lanzini. Are you fucking winding me up? You take money for one of our best players we've had in the modern era of West Ham, and just because he's not really turned up for maybe 10, 12 games this season, it's not good enough. So you want to sell him. You just need to calm yourselves a little bit down. I don't care who you are. You just need to calm down a little bit. We are West Ham. Lanzini's a top quality player, and he needs to be surrounded by top quality players, and therefore we will get the best out of players like him. Sorry, I have ranted. I've done a look, but that's just part and parcel of being a West Ham fan. Anyway, before we go, Richard, anything else to say on the game?
No. I think we just got to forget about it, learn from our mistakes, and give everything for these last 4 games. 4 cup finals, really. So yeah, let's just flip and get to the end of the season, stay up. If you tell me now that we'll stay up on 35 points, I'll bite your hand off and I'll take it, because fuck it, we're in the Premier League for another season. We just need to get it right now, because let's say we get to the end of the season. Cool, well done, we stayed up. Let's get it right, because every single season we say, yeah, we'll sort it out next season and we'll have a good transfer window, we'll have a good preseason and it'll all be okay. Let's get it right now. End of the season, we've got to ship out players that are passengers. Personally, I'd like to see Moyes go. I'd like to see a manager come in that's going to be positive, that's going to work with the likes of Lanzini, incorporate the likes of Chicharito and Arnautovic, because as you said, there is a genuine core there. There are 7 or 8 players that I can actually say are decent footballers that can actually add so much to our team. So I think with 1 or 2 additions here or there, a few youngsters coming through, why can't we be a top 10 side next season? There's absolutely no reason. And Moyes is going to be a large part of that, whether he stays or if he goes. So let's just stay up. Let's do that first and foremost, and then regroup.
Same question over to you, Luke, before we go.
Yeah, first of all, massive shout out to my brother, Ginger Pele, for getting in fans today in the stadium. And proper legend you are, mate. Hopefully you get a new contract in the summer as well. But in general, back to team wise, you're saying let's start afresh next season, Rich. I'm pretty sure we were saying the same thing last season coming into it.
That's my point,
so this is going to be like, pattern emerging now. I said the other day, I don't think anything's going to improve under the current regime. This is. I'm going to renew my season ticket because I'm an idiot and I love West Ham, but nothing's going to improve. This game, losing 4-1 to West Ham, I grew up with West Ham losing 4-1 to Arsenal. I grew up losing 4-1 to Man United, all this stuff, getting beaten by the big boys. Something should have changed by now with the move of the stadium. It hasn't happened. We've got to live and go from that. Unlucky Declan Rice, because you've been an absolute trooper since you actually got the opportunity to come in and play regularly. But he's made a couple this season. Hopefully he learns from it. What can you say? That was there for absolutely deflated. But bottom line is, let's bring on. We've got City next. City, is it?
Man City next Sunday, yeah.
May our soul rest in, fucking all that sort of stuff. Just God, have mercy on us,
Damage limitation. I wanted to ask lads quickly. Our goal difference. Are we in trouble in terms of goal difference? Because that could be very important.
What during the game when we were drawing one each, I didn't think goal difference came into it. So I'm going to have a quick look at it just now. But after conceding
Sorry to interrupt you, Luke. You can continue.
Conceding the 4 goals. Right, so let me we're minus 21, Southampton are minus 20. So we have played equal games to them with 4 games to go. So it literally could come into play. It could. To answer your question, Richard, goal difference could come into play.
Thanks, Geezer. Continue, Luke. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
continue, Luke.
Honestly, you've done me a favour, mate. It's fine. Just West Brom not relegated yet.
Not mathematically.
Not
how?
Yet, how they got a point. If they'd lost to Liverpool, it would have been done. But I think that point keeps them just in it. Right. They have to win all their games, and hope that everyone loses all their games. Pretty much.
They are clinging on more than Moyes on a Saturday afternoon. I tell you.
So to all you West Ham fans, apologies for another ranty West Ham review, but unfortunately we are ran by a bunch of clowns who don't understand our club, and hopefully moving forward, finally, after however many years they've taken over, they can. Luke, go.
Yeah, if people can comment on how white my face is looking compared to normal, that'd be great, because I want to know if it looks better than I
didn't even recognise who we had on the show today. I was like, who's this guy?
Top of his side, yeah.
Looking good, mate. Looking good. Model things.
Yeah. So listen, make sure you comment